Eric Clapton is known as one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Throughout his long career, he has played with many famous musicians and mastered blues, rock, and everything in between. Despite his own incredible talent and influence on music, there are still some guitarists who have amazed him. These players manage to impress someone who has seen and done it all in the music world. Duane Allman. A brief but brilliant partnership. One of the most important guitarists in Eric Clapton's life was Duane Allman. Even though Allman's career was tragically short, his impact on rock and blues music was huge. Clapton first heard Allman's amazing playing on Wilson Pickett's version of Hey Jude. When Clapton listened to Allman's guitar solo on that song, he was immediately struck by something special. It wasn't just that the young guitarist was technically skilled, it was the deep emotion he could express through his playing. This was a revelation for Clapton, who had always been drawn to the soul and feeling in blues music. He later said he had never heard rock guitar playing of such high quality on an R&B record before. At this time, Clapton was already well known in the music world. He had made his mark with bands like the Yardbirds, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, Cream, and Blind Faith. He was already considered one of the most skilled and emotionally expressive guitarists of his time. But when he heard Allman's work, he recognized something truly special. Another musician who could channel raw emotion through his instrument with incredible intensity. This admiration eventually led to one of the most famous collaborations in rock history. The two musicians finally met when Clapton was working on Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs with his band Derek and the Dominoes in 1970. Producer Tom Dowd, who had worked with both artists, introduced them at an Allman Broadway, Hers Band concert in Miami. Clapton was so impressed with Allman's playing that he insisted they meet afterward. Their musical chemistry was immediate, and Allman was soon invited to join the recording sessions. What happened next was a creative explosion. Allman's slide guitar playing added a new layer of depth and passion to the album, perfectly complementing Clapton's already emotionally charged style. The title track, Layla, became a timeless masterpiece, largely because of the interplay between Clapton's anguished lead guitar work and Allman's soaring slide guitar. Allman's contribution added a searing, mournful quality that perfectly matched the song's theme of unrequited love. The two musicians fed off each other's energy, pushing one another to new heights of musical expression. Their chemistry was electric as they engaged in extended, deeply expressive guitar duels that elevated the material beyond mere rock songs into timeless artistic statements. Allman's contributions to Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs went far beyond just the title track. His influence can be felt throughout the entire album, from the haunting slide work on Bell Bottom Blues to the intricate lead exchanges on Key to the Highway. His presence not only transformed the sound of the album, but also left a permanent mark on Clapton himself. The experience reinforced Clapton's belief in the power of musical collaboration and deepened his appreciation for Allman's genius. Tragically, Allman's time in the spotlight was cut short. Barely a year after the sessions for Layla, he was killed in a motorcycle accident at just 24 years old. His death was a devastating blow to the music world, and Clapton was among those who felt his loss most deeply. In later interviews, Clapton spoke of Allman with deep admiration and sorrow, acknowledging the immense talent and spirit that had been lost far too soon. Despite his brief career, Duane Allman's legacy continues not only through his work with the Allman Brothers Band, but also through his legendary collaboration with Clapton. The Layla sessions remain a testament to the power of musical chemistry, capturing a moment in time when two of rock's greatest guitarists pushed each other to their limits and created something truly timeless. The Blues Masters, Muddy Waters, and Robert Johnson. Eric Clapton's career has been shaped by many different influences, but few have been as deeply impactful as the legendary blues musicians Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson. These two towering figures of the genre introduced Clapton to a world of music that would shape his playing, his artistic identity, and his very understanding of what it meant to be a musician. While many guitarists of his generation were drawn to the exciting energy of rock and roll, Clapton found himself captivated by the raw emotional depth of the blues. Robert Johnson, in particular, left a permanent mark on Clapton's musical soul. Johnson's playing was intricate and layered, full of subtlety and complexity that seemed almost supernatural for a man recording in the 1930s. His ability to blend rhythm and lead guitar at the same time made it sound as though more than one musician was playing at once, an illusion that fascinated and mystified Clapton. But it wasn't just Johnson's technical skill that left such a lasting impression. It was the emotional intensity of his music. Songs like Crossroads Blues and Love in Vain carried a haunting quality, filled with pain, longing, and a sense of doom that resonated deeply with Clapton. He once admitted that listening to Johnson was almost unbearable due to the sheer emotional force behind the music. It wasn't just about the notes being played. It was about the raw, unfiltered expression of human suffering and resilience. Clapton's reverence for Johnson was so profound that he later recorded an entire album dedicated to him, Me and Mr. Johnson, in 2004, where he reinterpreted some of Johnson's most famous songs. It was a testament to how deeply Johnson's music had affected him, serving as both a tribute and a personal exploration of the blues traditions that had shaped his career. Muddy Waters represented a different but equally powerful influence on Clapton. Unlike Johnson's acoustic, almost ghostly blues, Waters brought an electrified, gritty edge to the genre. As one of the pioneers of the Chicago blues sound, Waters' music had an undeniable swagger, a forceful presence that was both hypnotic and commanding. His deep, gravelly voice and aggressive slide guitar playing stood in stark contrast to Johnson's eerie wails, yet both artists shared an ability to convey profound emotion through their music. Waters' influence on Clapton became particularly evident during Clapton's time with bands like John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and Cream. The heavy, amplified blues rock sound that Clapton helped popularize in the 1960s owed a great deal to Waters' pioneering work. Clapton often covered Waters' songs and incorporated his techniques into his own playing. One of the most defining moments in Clapton's career came when he had the chance to perform alongside Waters. Meeting and playing with his idol was a surreal experience for Clapton, further solidifying his belief that blues was the truest, most powerful form of musical expression. Together, the influences of Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters helped shape Clapton into the guitarist and artist he became. Johnson taught him the depth of emotion and the art of storytelling through music, while Waters demonstrated the power and energy that blues could have when taken to new sonic heights. Clapton's lifelong devotion to the blues can be traced directly back to these two legends, whose music continues to echo through his own work. Whether through delicate acoustic interpretations or searing, electric solos, Clapton has spent his career paying tribute to the giants who paved the way for him, ensuring that their legacies remain alive in every note he plays. Jimi Hendrix, The Revolutionary Encounter. The meeting of Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix is one of the most famous moments in rock history, an encounter between two of the most revolutionary guitarists of their era. By the time Hendrix arrived in London in 1966, Clapton was already considered one of the premier guitarists in the world, having made his name with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and more recently with Cream. His reputation as a virtuoso was well established, and in the eyes of many, he was the undisputed king of the British blues rock scene. Then came Jimi Hendrix, an American musician with a flamboyant stage presence, a seemingly effortless mastery of the guitar, and a style that defied convention. Hendrix was eager to prove himself in a city that had become the center of the rock revolution. It was Chas Chandler, former bassist of the Animals and now Hendrix's manager, who orchestrated the meeting. Chandler knew that for Hendrix to make an impact in the UK, he had to impress the musicians who mattered, and none mattered more than Clapton. The fateful night took place at London's Regent Street Polytechnic, where Cream was scheduled to perform. Chandler approached Clapton and asked if Hendrix could join them on stage for a song. Clapton, always open to jamming with fellow musicians, agreed without hesitation. He had no idea what was about to unfold. Hendrix took the stage, plugged in his guitar, and launched into a blistering version of Howlin' Wolf's Killing Floor, a song known for its rapid-fire blues licks and demanding technicality. Clapton, by his own admission, was stunned. Hendrix played with a level of confidence and showmanship that was unlike anything he had ever seen. His finba gears moved across the fretboard with an almost supernatural ease, bending notes in ways that defied logic and coaxing sounds out of the guitar that had never been heard before. Clapton's reaction was a mix of admiration and disbelief. He later recalled that he was so taken aback by Hendrix's playing that he momentarily left the stage, allegedly lighting a cigarette with shaky hands as he processed what he had just witnessed. It wasn't that Clapton felt threatened. Rather, he was in awe. In Hendrix, he saw a guitarist who wasn't just technically brilliant, but also completely fearless, someone who seemed to treat the guitar as an extension of his soul. The press and fans may have tried to pit them against each other as rivals, but the reality was far more nuanced. Clapton did not see Hendrix as a competitor. He saw him as a kindred spirit, someone who shared his deep reverence for the blues and his relentless pursuit of musical innovation. Both musicians drew from the same well of inspiration, artists like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Robert Johnson. But they expressed it in vastly different ways. Clapton was precise, measured, and steeped in the British blues tradition, while Hendrix was explosive, unpredictable, and unbound by any rules. The two developed a mutual respect and a genuine friendship. Clapton would often attend Hendrix's shows, marveling at his ability to push the boundaries of what the electric guitar could do. Hendrix, in turn, admired Clapton's technical brilliance and ability to craft emotionally resonant solos. They even exchanged gifts. Hendrix once gave Clapton a left-handed Fender Stratocaster, a gesture that spoke volumes about their friendship. Tragically, their time as contemporaries was short-lived. Hendrix's sudden death in 1970 at the age of 27 left Clapton devastated. He later revealed that he had planned to meet with Hendrix on the Nidaare G8 of his passing, having invited him over to discuss music and a potential collaboration. The loss weighed heavily on Clapton, who struggled to come to terms with the passing of someone he considered not just a fellow musician, but a true artistic equal. In the years that followed, Clapton continued to speak highly of Hendrix, acknowledging his profound influence on the evolution of rock guitar. Hendrix had changed the game, and Clapton knew it. He once remarked that after seeing Hendrix perform, the entire guitar-playing world had to rethink their approach. John Mayer. Beyond the pop star image, John Mayer's early career painted him as a soft-spoken pop singer-songwriter, crafting radio-friendly hits like Your Body is a Wonderland and Daughters, songs that cemented his image as a heartthrob with a guitar rather than a serious musician. Yet beneath the surface of the catchy melodies and sentimental lyrics, there was an artist with an extraordinary command of his instrument and a deep reverence for the blues. While many dismissed Mayer as just another pop star, Eric Clapton saw something different. He recognized a musician who had more to offer than chart-topping ballads, a guitarist who understood the nuances of phrasing, tone, and touch, qualities that set apart good players from truly great ones. Their collaboration on Eric Clapton and Friends would prove just how right Clapton was. When the two finally had the chance to work together in a serious musical setting, Mayer wasted no time in demonstrating that he was more than capable of holding his own alongside a legend. What stood out to Clapton wasn't just Mayer's technical prowess. Although his ability to execute intricate, emotionally charged guitar work was undeniable, it was his ability to do so with astonishing ease. Recording in the studio can be a daunting process, especially when working with an artist of Clapton's stature. Many seasoned musicians require multiple takes to perfect their parts, but Mayer consistently nailed his sections in just a few tries, a feat that left Clapton genuinely impressed. This ability spoke to something deeper than just raw talent. It was an indication of Mayer's deep musical intuition and his respect for the blues tradition. Unlike many modern guitarists who prioritize speed and flashy technique, Mayer understood the importance of space, dynamics, and emotion, qualities that define Clapton's own playing. It was a testament to his study of the greats, from B.B. King to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and his ability to channel those influences into something uniquely his own. Clapton's admiration for Mayer didn't stop in the studio. He would later invite Mayer to perform at the Crossroads Guitar Festival, an event dedicated to celebrating the world's most exceptional guitarists. It was on this stage that Mayer truly proved his blues credentials, trading licks with some of the best players in the world and standing shoulder to shoulder with musicians who had spent decades refining their craft. For many in the audience, it was a revelation, proof that Mayer wasn't just a pop star dabbling in blues, but a serious musician with the skills to back it up. The respect between the two guitarists was mutual. Mayer had grown up idolizing Clapton, studying his technique, his phrasing, and the way he made the guitar sing with emotion. To receive recognition from someone he considered one of his greatest influences was both humbling and validating. But perhaps the most significant aspect of their relationship was that it wasn't built on flattery or empty praise. Clapton was known for his honesty, and his admiration for Mayer was genuine. He saw in him the same qualities that had drawn him to the blues decades earlier, an ability to tell a story through the guitar, to make the listener feel something deeper than just appreciation for technical skill. As Mayer's career evolved, he would continue to lean more into the blues, embracing his role as a torchbearer for the genre in the modern era. His work with the John Mayer Trio and his tenure with Dead and Company further solidified his reputation as a guitarist first and foremost, proving that his early days as a pop star were just one chapter in a much larger musical journey. Albert Lee, the ultimate musician. Eric Clapton has played alongside some of the most legendary guitarists in history, from Jimi Hendrix to B.B. King, and has spoken with great admiration of players like Robert Johnson, Muddy Waters, and Duane Allman. Yet when asked to name the guitarist he holds in the highest regard, one name consistently rises above the rest: Albert Lee. For Clapton, Lee is not just an exceptional musician, but the epitome of what a guitarist should be. A player whose mastery of the instrument transcends mere technical skill and borders on the otherworldly. Albert Lee may not be a household name in the way that Hendrix or Clapton himself is, but among musicians, he is revered as one of the finest guitarists to have ever lived, a true virtuoso. Lee has built his reputation on a dazzling combination of speed, precision, and effortless fluidity, particularly in the realms of country, rock, and blues. His signature hybrid picking technique, where he seamlessly blends the use of a pick with finger picking, has set him apart as one of the most technically gifted players of his generation. His playing is clean, articulate, and lightning fast, yet it never feels like mere technical display. Every note serves a purpose, and every phrase is filled with feeling. Clapton's admiration for Lee is particularly striking because it comes from someone who has played with virtually every great guitarist of the modern era. In an industry where hyperbole is often used casually, Clapton's reverence for Lee carries genuine weight. He has described Lee as the ultimate musician, a title that he does not give lightly. What makes this praise even more meaningful is that Clapton himself is widely considered one of the most influential guitarists in rock history, yet he looks up to Lee with an almost fan-like awe. Their professional relationship has been long-standing, with Lee playing in Clapton's band for several years. When Clapton needed a guitarist who could effortlessly handle a wide range of styles, from blues to country to rock, Lee was his first choice. His presence in Clapton's lineup was a testament to his versatility and his ability to elevate any musical setting he found himself in. Whether it was trading solos on stage or locking into intricate rhythm sections, Lee's playing was always impeccable, leaving audiences and fellow musicians in awe. Clapton has often recounted moments where Lee's sheer ability left him speechless. It wasn't just the speed at which Lee could play, though that was undeniably impressive. It was the effortlessness with which he executed even the most complex passages. Unlike many guitarists who rely on flamboyance or dramatic flair, Lee's brilliance lay in his understated approach. He could play the most intricate licks with such ease that it seemed almost supernatural, as if the guitar was simply an extension of his body. Beyond his technical prowess, what truly set Lee apart in Clapton's eyes was his deep musicality. While many virtuosos can dazzle with fast runs and flashy solos, Lee played with a level of taste and restraint that is rare among players of his caliber. He understood when to play, and, just as importantly, when not to play, an instinct that Clapton, who has always valued emotion over technicality, deeply appreciated. His ability to make a guitar speak in a way that felt both sophisticated and deeply human aligned perfectly with Clapton's own philosophy on music. Despite his legendary status among musicians, Lee has remained remarkably humble, never seeking the spotlight in the way that many of his contemporaries have. He has spent much of his career as a sideman, lending his extraordinary talents to artists like Emmylou Harris, the Everly Brothers, and of course, Clapton himself. This humility only deepens Clapton's respect for him. Lee is a musician's musician, someone who plays not for fame or recognition, but simply for the love of the instrument. For Clapton, Albert Lee represents the pinnacle of what it means to be a guitarist. In an industry filled with talented players, Lee stands out not just for his technical skill, but for his deep understanding of music, his impeccable taste, and his unwavering dedication to his craft. In many ways, he embodies everything Clapton himself has strived for throughout his career. When someone of Clapton's stature describes a fellow musician as the ultimate, it is not just a compliment, it is the highest form of recognition, a statement that Lee's contributions to the guitar world are nothing short of extraordinary. B.B. King, the king of blues. Eric Clapton has always been vocal about the artists who shaped his musical journey, but among them, B.B. King held a truly special place. More than just an influence, King was a guiding light in Clapton's lifelong pursuit of the blues. From the moment Clapton first heard King's recordings, he was captivated not just by the technical aspects of his playing, but by the sheer emotional weight that King could convey with just a few notes. It was a lesson that stayed with him throughout his career. The idea that feel and phrasing could be far more powerful than speed or complexity. Clapton often cited B.B. King's vibrato as one of the most mesmerizing aspects of his playing. The way King would gently shake a note, giving it life and depth, was something that Clapton studied and incorporated into his own style. It was King's ability to make a single note sing, to stretch it, bend it, and make it cry, that had the greatest impact on Clapton's approach to the guitar. Unlike many of his contemporaries who favored rapid-fire runs and showmanship, Clapton learned from King that sometimes the spaces between the notes mattered just as much as the notes themselves. The admiration between the two musicians was mutual. As Clapton rose to prominence in the 1960s, B.B. King became aware of his work and recognized him as one of the most gifted guitarists of his generation. King was never one to be threatened by younger players. Instead, he welcomed them, often mentoring and encouraging those who carried the blues tradition forward. He saw in Clapton not just a talented guitarist, but someone who had a deep reverence for the blues and a genuine understanding of its roots. Over the years, the two musicians developed a close friendship, frequently playing together on stage and expressing admiration for each other in interviews. Their mutual respect reached its pinnacle in 2000 when they joined forces to record the collaborative album Riding with the King. For Clapton, the opportunity to record an entire album with one of his heroes was both an honor and a dream come true. Even after King's passing in 2015, Clapton continued to sing his praises, ensuring that his legacy remained alive. He often spoke about the importance of King's contributions to music, describing him as a beacon for blues musicians everywhere. More than just a great guitarist, King was a storyteller, a communicator who used his instrument to speak directly to the hearts of his listeners. For Clapton, that was the highest level a musician could achieve,